Welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video, and welcome to this badass truck right here. This is the Nissan Titan Pro-4X. Now the Titan was redesigned in 2020, this one's the 2021. We're gonna see, does it hold true with modern truck standards? We've been testing a lot of trucks recently. What's it like to drive? And we're gonna go on a full tour in this video. Join us. This is the 2021 Nissan Titan Pro-4X. It has the big V8, 400 horsepower or so, but that's only when you're using premium fuel. That is a big asterisk. Let me pop the hood, let me show you around this thing, because this is one of the best parts about this whole truck is this endurance V8. So let's pop the hood and take a look. Here it is, the 5.6 V8 that we know and love from Nissan products. Really cool engine, 400 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque. Again, when using premium fuel. Take a listen to it as we pull away, because it just sounds really awesome at wide open throttle. Here we go. Styling on the front of the Titan is big and bold. I think Nissan's whole design strategy across their lineup is getting really awesome. They're starting to have a brand identity that's premium, and here in the truck you get these awesome LED running lights that are homogeneous. They look really nice, really good LED headlights and high beams, and then you get this on the Pro-4X trim. The Nissan's actually painted in, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Iola red, I believe. You also get the towing recovery eyes in red on the Pro-4X. So if you ever see a Titan or any Nissan with a red badge, it is the first and only Nissan to be painted in red, the specific Pro-4X trim here. Come around the side, we have some general grabber APTs. Just a really nice all-terrain tire, super comfortable on the road. I've had this truck only for a very short period of time. I've only spent a couple hours with it, but I've been extremely impressed with the road noise and quality of the tire grip in dirt and on pavement here. It's been super impressive. This one is optioned out with pretty much everything. So sticker 61,345. A base Pro-4X is 50 grand. So it's got over $10,000 worth of options, including these side steps here that are over $1,000. It's got this awesome roll bar back here. You can mount a light bar to it, whatever you wanted to do, of course. It's got the Pro-4X badging, of course, to denote this trim. And then coming around the back, you get awesome little side steps that come out of the bumper right here. You can see these, they just come right down, you just push them. You get these awesome running lights in the rear, of course. Again, styling is really good here. I'm pretty close to this rock, should have thought about that. The bed is damped, so the tailgate basically comes down, it won't slam, which is awesome. You get these awesome, I'm using awesome a lot, that's because the truck is pretty cool. You get these really neat aluminum runners here. They have guards in them right now, but you can pull these out and strap down your goods with this running rail system. I think it's really smart. You get them on the side as well, super beefy tie-down points. I mean, it's just a usable truck. So many trucks just give you a bed with nothing to tie stuff down in. Here you have, I don't know, 8, 12 points to tie down, and then plus the adjustable things here. Makes a lot of sense. I really like it a lot. Bed's easy to close, of course. You have all of your towing equipment back here. You have cameras all around, so you can tow your trailer pretty easily, line up the trailer hitch. It all works good. You can see the camera right here over the trailer hitch where you would have your balls, so you could line it up with your trailer pretty neatly, and it's all good. Let's go around this side and I'll show you some of the room in the truck. We'll start with the back seat as always. So the front seat is where a normal person would sit. Let me show you this really quick before we come in. So come around the side of the door. You see these door pockets? They're actually extremely low. So when you're sitting in the second row seat, let me just demonstrate. I'll climb in. It's actually hard to put stuff in here. Then there's not much room between the seat edge and the storage pocket. Maybe they needed a larger bench, I'm sure, but this would have been nicer to have raised up and more accessible, I think at least. Back here, you have a 120 volt wall outlet. That's 400 watts, so you can power a PlayStation, whatever you want. Heated rear seats in this particular one. Like I mentioned, it is maxed out. Gorgeous glass roof as well, so you can see everything out of the roof. That I think is a $1,500 standalone option. I think it's worth it. Really nice. 2 cup holders in the rear. You get a center armrest that folds down as well. Also, you get 2 cup holders in there. So you're at no loss for cup holders in this truck. You also get 2 cup holders in each of the door pockets. So this is like cup holder central right here. Great leg room in these full-size trucks, of course. You get 2 different levels of storage pockets in the rear seat, which I think is pretty interesting. You get a light one, you can put a reading book or something, and then more items in this closer one. Air vents in the rear, which is super important. You have 2 USB-A outlets and a 12-volt outlet. So charging your devices, really neat. I would have liked to see a USB-C and a USB-A back here though, especially as they've done that up front. That seems pretty odd to me. So let's go up front. I'm gonna run over to the driver's side. You guys come in over here and let's see what the cab's like, and then we'll take it for a drive, of course. So we gotta do the door thunk test. So I'm gonna open the door. Seems pretty nice and hefty. These door handles are real chunky. They're wide, and they also have the unlock and lock button on them though. I will say the catches for the door, you can see it just blows right through those. So every time I've gotten out of it, at least, and there's a slight wind or I'm on an incline, it doesn't really hold the door open so well. Looking at the front door here, we have our memory seating positions, which is great. All of our windows and mirror controls. It's all fairly basic so much to where the rear windows aren't even automatic. You got to hold them down. The front 2 are auto up and down. Express up and down is the industry term. And then of course you have the same, door pocket issue up front that you have in the rear. Basically it's too low and it's hard to get items down in there. So jumping into the cab, plenty of room, of course, but this is where I have the largest problem with this truck, and that is the seating position. I find that I can't get the seat to go low enough, so I feel like I'm sitting way up high, and then the steering wheel's in like full bus driver mode. So power tilt and telescopic, let's start it up, get the electronics going. Sounds really good at startup. Power tilt and telescopic, of course, so if I bring the wheel all the way towards me and all the way down, there we go, you can see it's still like coming at me at an angle here, and I would have really liked to see a little bit lower of a steering wheel and a little bit lower of a seating position. I think it would have made this truck really more comfortable on long trips. But we'll talk about that when we drive it, because I did take this truck on a little bit of a trip yesterday, actually. Some controls over on the left-hand side by my knee. We have cargo lighting. Again, you can turn on that AC outlet in the back seat. You even have headlamp leveling, which is super neat. So at nighttime on the highway, you can raise the headlights up, get a little bit more of a longer view, or you can drop them down. This is something Infiniti and Nissan has been doing for years and years, but I'm interesting to see it here in a modern Nissan product. I think it's kind of neat. I like it a lot. Automatic, headlights and windshield wipers, of course, and then you get to the steering wheel itself, which is not so good. It's just a really thin, hard wheel. It doesn't feel that nice on the hand. The steering itself is really heavy. It gives you a solid truck feeling, which some people like. Personally, I like the new electric racks that are really easy, and then when you dial the truck up into sport mode, it gives you this type of feeling. But hydraulic steering, it feels like, at least, which is kind of neat. Direct, of course. You have volume and menu controls here on the left-hand side, your adaptive cruise control on the right-hand side. Adaptive cruise control is interesting because it does a really good job of 3 different following distances behind a vehicle. The steering wheel buzzes when you hit a line. It has Nissan Safety Shield as standard, which is awesome. So forward collision warning, all of this stuff. But when you're going down a steep hill, the cruise control doesn't hold you at your speed. A lot of trucks will downshift and apply the friction brakes to hold you at your set speed or within, 2 or 3 miles an hour. This just lets it coast, and then it'll catch back on the throttle when you slow down, which I find pretty odd. The shifter here itself is pretty flimsy as well. I'm really disappointed. It's something you touch all the time when you get into a vehicle. You want it to feel premium, and I know Nissan knows how to do this because we just had the new Rogue that had a really neat shifter, and this is just a little, I don't know, plastic. Nothing's really solid here. This silver bit is not aluminum at all. Like, it wouldn't really have cost much to do a really nice shifter. Again, factoring in this particular truck, 61 grand. Yeah, it doesn't really feel that great. Now, the manual shifting is neat. Once you're in drive, you can push this minus button to downshift, push this plus button to upshift, 9-speed torque converted auto. Great transmission. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But it's nice to have that control right here on the side. Of course, you have your tow haul setting right here on the edge of the shifter. And you know what? I like that they've retained the column shifter. So many trucks are putting them here in the middle, and it just eats away at space. I think it's nice to have a column shifter in a truck for sure. Oh, just came off the braking there. Had to go back on the parking paw. Here in the center, you get your instrument cluster and all of your infotainment things. And you know what? It's fairly standard for all of the Nissans we've tested here on this channel. You get a few different menus baked in. The way I use this is with Android Auto or with Apple CarPlay. For me, I'm an Apple guy, so for the most part, I just hook up my phone, Apple CarPlay, and I'm rocking and rolling. Fender audio system, optional extra in this particular one. Stellar sound system. Really cranks when you put it up. The bass is crisp. It's got 12 speakers. I think it's just over 500 or 600 watts, but it's honestly, it's way more powerful than that to my ear, and is a great sound system. I would 100% spec that. If anything, this is like the truck's biggest highlight. Other than that Endurance V8 that I love, this sound system is incredible. Hvac controls are pretty interesting down here. You can go obviously dual zone, which is neat, but in auto mode, I find it blows a little bit too hard, so that's kind of interesting. Down here, you get some adjustable controls as well. Take a look. You can see your traction control, your parking sensors, your safety shield, as well as your heated steering wheel. I think the heated steering wheel and traction control off should be switched. You know, it's been fairly cold today, and I was looking for the heated steering wheel button where it should normally be here on the wheel, but you have to reach all the way over here for something you're going to arguably use quite often in a cold environment. And I think that button and the traction control, which you're arguably going to use less, should be swapped around. So just a suggestion from my side. Coming down here below these buttons, you can see the integrated trailer brake controller. You can adjust your gain. You can control manually, of course. We don't have a trailer hooked up. You have USB-C, USB-A, as demonstrated by these two cables, and then you have your heated seat controls. Now at nighttime, I was actually having a little bit of trouble to figure out if I was on hot or cold until I found this little nifty trick. So come and zoom on over here to this heated seat control and take a look here. So right now in the center, you can see this light is off. But if I switch it, it goes on to red, and then of course it'll go on blue. And last night I was driving it because the colors are not backlit, but the heated seat icon is. But when you go to the center position, it shuts the light off, so you know when it's off. I thought that was really neat, just a nice little touch. Tons of storage around through here. You have to forgive some of this this stuff. Normally we have the cars cleaned out, but again, we had such a short period of time with this truck that I needed to just get this video in because I wanted to show you guys how cool this was. We're actually using it for another project. So this compartment here, there we go, just comes straight up, and you get really good compartment. The cup holders do the same, and you can really adjust this however you want, and maybe there'll be more accessories in the future to line all this up. So it just snaps in, and then this little phone holder, let's see here, just snaps in, boom, and we're ready to go. In the center console, it's quite similar. You have another component that snaps in, slides in this particular case. Super deep 12-volt outlet in here, which is awesome. And this is just such a great use of space, I think. You can really store a lot of things in here. Similar to most trucks, I really like that. Glove box is a standard size. So, you know, and we'll talk about it when we drive it, but of course this one's 4-wheel drive, optional extra. You have 4 high, you can push in for 4 low if you're in neutral, or of course run 2-wheel drive, and of course you can lock the rear diff manually, which I love that feature. So overall, it's a really mixed bag here in the cabin. You have really nice, well thought out space and cubbies, but then some of them are hard to get to and use because they're right next to the seat and there's not much room to get your hand down there. You have really good controls, adaptive cruise control, good functionality, but then the implementation is kind of weird where it doesn't slow down when there's no car in front of you. It'll just let it coast down a hill. So overall, I'd say, you know, great truck for cruising around. I've honestly enjoyed driving it. That's what we're going to do now. But the interior does leave a little bit to be desired in terms of quality materials here, and just a well thought out button arrangement would be nice as well. So let's take it for a drive and see how this thing does on the road. Before we take it for a drive, I just want to run through the window sticker fully for you. MPG EPA is 15 in the city, 20 on the highway. We have averaged a lot less than that, somewhere around 13 to 14 miles per gallon during the 289 miles we've driven it. But again, a lot of this was around town performance testing. You know, it's not a representative of the true fuel economy when we test vehicles. We hadn't had a chance to run this in our fuel economy loop. So if you're interested, I'll try and get one back and we'll run it at 70 like I do with with almost every car. To go through the spec here, $50,290 base. This one has the Pro-4X utility package. It's $2,190. Gives you so much. It gives you the trailer brake controller, the good sound system, the 110 volt outlet in the bed, the 4 tie-down cleats. It's called utility track, front and rear parking sensors. Like, I think you just get that for $2,200. No question. That's awesome. Then you get the convenience package, which is $3,400, and this is leather appointed seat, 4-way power passenger seat, heated front seats, auto entry exit driver seat, heated steering wheel, power tilt and telescoping steering wheel, a few other things, remote engine start. Again, I think that makes sense. I really like it. And then for $1,500, you get this gorgeous moonroof, and the side step boards, of course, are $1,000 and $350 for the illuminated kick plate, and the sport bar on the back's $1,000. I like the way that sport bar looks. I think that almost makes the whole truck from a styling perspective. While it may not be uber functional, it's certainly really useful to drive. So, or useful, I should say, to mount things to. We're going into drive. Let's do it. It's a Pro-4X, so it should be good on the dirt, right? So foot down. Full Baja mode. Probably a little shaky back there. Sorry about that. But this thing's just fun. It's so big and meaty, and it's just, I did a little light off-roading with it yesterday and had some big undulations. Handled it really well, I have to say. So 9-speed automatic, if you leave it in drive, I think the calibration is really good. Of course, the wide open acceleration sounds nice. Listen to that. Just really, really good noise, great engine sound, and that is kind of intoxicating to just keep putting your foot into it. And then you get to the braking, which I think might be one of this truck's highlights, which is fantastic. You have a hydraulically boosted with an electric system brake pedal. So you just touch it a little bit, you just lean into it, and it just gives you a huge confidence-inspiring braking system that is really not felt in many trucks. The brakes on this thing are amazing, and it's purely down to just the feel of the pedal. Of course, we're coming up, so we're able to use some of the power coming up this way, which is awesome. The shifts are super crisp. You can see, maybe you can't, but the steering wheel just vibrated, saying I just grazed one of the lines. Again, part of Nissan's safety shield, keeping us safe. It doesn't actually actively push you back into your lane, but you know, it does buzz to let you know you've hit the line, and you can turn that off if you don't like that, of course. In terms of road noise is quite low. So overall NVH I think is great. However, this truck's really affected by wind noise. So when I took this truck up to Wyoming yesterday, and it was extremely windy. We had probably a 30-mile-an-hour crosswind. Now, you would expect to hear some wind in that case, but I would say almost to the point where it was pushing the seals out of, I think, the sunroof mainly. We were hearing it come through here, and it just felt like it wasn't closed down properly, but we kept making sure like everything was shut. So again, extreme side wind. If you live in a windy environment and you like a quiet cab, this may not be the truck for you, or just don't spec the sunroof would be my suggestion. Steering feel on the road is fantastic. It has proper weighting, really good steering ratio as well. However, in parking lot situations, it can be quite heavy to turn and move. So be prepared to drive a burly truck if you're feeling like turning a heavy steering wheel, because this certainly gives you that experience. Yeah, great. Tons of fun. You can see it handles pretty well in these corners. You can get it in. Doesn't really lean over too much. It feels like you want to Baja this thing. The Pro-4X is the trim of the Titan I would go for. I think it looks the most aggressive, the most, you know, in your face, if you will, and yeah, really, really nice. On the highway, cruising along its speed is effortless with this engine. It sits at about 1,500 RPM at almost 80 miles an hour. That ninth final drive ratio and that ninth gear is extremely tall and should yield really good fuel economy on the highway, I would think. It's crisp when you put your foot down. Of course, I've spoken about the transmission tuning, but it's very responsive. It's foot down, instantly drops the gears, and we're off. It's no fuss, no frills, and honestly, it's extremely hard for a lot of automakers to get this type of calibration done well, and I think Nissan's done a fantastic job with their powertrain calibration. I really do. So we're just out here going for a cruise in the Nissan Titan Pro-4X. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and beautiful views here at Horsetooth Reservoir in Fort Collins, Colorado, of course. A great backdrop for this truck, especially in this red color against the brown of the winter time. I guess we're coming into spring now, but still some snow on the ground. But looks great, really good headlights, really good taillights. From a styling perspective, from a driving perspective, suspension's quite firm, but of course it's a truck. It's not going to ride like an S-Class. I'd say it rides about average across all of the sporty trucks, Z71 included, things like this. And it's certainly a truck that would be on my short list. I just love the way it looks. I love the way it drives, and hopefully you will too. So, thanks for watching this video. What do you think? Do you think this truck's worth $61,000, or would you go for a base spec? Of course, you can get a diesel as well, so I'm looking forward to testing some of these other trims in the Titan. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.